welcome everybody. We're going to get started in about 20 seconds.
Welcome, everyone.
All right, well, welcome to our final Observe, Think, Wonder, a green chemistry webinar series of the season. We are so thrilled that you are joining us tonight. My name is Erin Mayer, and I'm a lead teacher with Beyond Benign, and I am joined this evening by a team of amazing colleagues who are also passionate about green chemistry. This evening, we are incredibly honored to have Areej Nitowski join us. Areej is the MilleporeSigma Green Chemistry Education Manager. To get our evening started, we'd love to learn a little bit more about you. Please introduce yourself in the chat by sharing your name, location, and the grade level you represent. Please make sure that the name that we see on your screen is the name that you would like to have printed on your certificate of attendance for this evening. Additionally, if you are comfortable doing so, we welcome and encourage you to share your video feed as it fosters a more intimate and engaging experience. We do understand, of course, that there are occasions when that is not possible, and we are certainly understanding of that. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to join us on social media by following us at Beyond Benign at all the various social media channels that you see on the screen. We are always excited when we see posts sharing not only our content being used, but also the innovative ideas created by our followers, as well as inspiring stories within the green chemistry community. I would also like to remind everyone that by registering for the webinar this evening, you've agreed to our code of conduct. We are essentially asking participants to be kind, accepting, and open to varying viewpoints and opinions. This series, as you've already seen, will be recorded. And while it is expected that the video feed will focus on the presenter, your voice and video feed could appear at some point. So by attending the discussion, you are giving your consent to allow us to post video and or sound of you. As we launch tonight's webinar, we wish to acknowledge this unceded land on which Beyond Benign operates. For years, it has been the traditional land of the Pawtucket and the Massachusetts nations. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide, colonialism, and forced removal from this territory. We also acknowledge that further education is needed on our part to learn the full history of the land we occupy and all the indigenous peoples it belongs to. We would also like to give thanks to our sponsors who make this series possible. As many of you know, Beyond Benign is an organization working to foster a green chemistry community that empowers educators to transform chemistry education for a sustainable future. It's our vision to ensure the chemical building blocks of products used every day are healthy and safe for the humans and the environment. And we believe that education is one of the most powerful and critical components to achieving this. That is why we are committed to pioneering a paradigm shift across the continuum of science education. The reality is that there is a demand for green chemistry skills, and we don't currently have the workforce equipped to solve sustainability problems using chemistry. We are so excited to feature presenters in our Observe, Wonder, Think series who are working to change this. Also, I would like to remind everybody that last October, we did launch the Green Chemistry Teaching and Learning Community. This is a joint initiative between Beyond Benign and the American Chemistry Society Green Chemistry Institute. It also has support from many of the sponsors that support Beyond Benign's work. The GCTLC hosts a central online searchable library of green chemistry education resources, including but not limited to lab experiments, lecture materials, and in-class activities. And this resource hub is just expanding every week that we move forward. So the hub allows users to create, connect, and network together, share ideas and resources, collaborate, and give and receive feedback as well as mentorship. So if you have not already joined this community, we highly encourage you to do so. This year, our Observe, Wonder, Think series has highlighted the 12 green chemistry principles with short, engaging classroom learning activities and with connections to both the university level and industry level. This evening, we will be focusing on principles 1, 4, and 6. So before we hear from Areej, I'm going to take a moment to briefly review those principles that her outreach work is focused on. So Principle 1 states that it is better to prevent waste than to treat or clean up waste after it has been created. This principle is often referred to as the preventive principle. The other 11 principles are the how-tos to achieve Principle 1. The focus of Green Chemistry Principle 4 is the design of safer chemicals. The design of safer chemicals focus on minimizing toxicity while also maintaining both function and efficacy. The American Chemistry Society states that achieving this goal requires an understanding of not only chemistry, but also of the principles of toxicology and environmental science. And our final principle that we'll be focused on tonight is Green Chemistry Principle number 6, which states that energy requirements should be recognized for their environmental and economic impacts and should be minimized. Synthetic methods should be conducted at ambient temperature and pressure. As Dr. David Constable, who is the director of the ACS Green Chemistry Institute, has shared, energy, like thinking about how to arrange a synthesis to have the fewest number of steps or use the lowest cost starting materials or any other aspect of interest to the synthetic or process chemist, is just another design parameter. Historically, it has not been seen as that, but we can no longer afford to design new molecules in the absence of a detailed and extended consideration of how energy will be used. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce tonight's presenter, Areej Nitowski. Areej brings together her love of science and education and her role as Green Chemistry Education Manager for the life science business of Merck KGaA, Darmstadt, Germany, which operates as MilleporeSigma in the US and Canada. Areej strives to implement chemistry curriculum change in higher education and prepare future chemists with an education where sustainability is the primary focus. She is particularly passionate about making science education more accessible for young women and students of color. In her role as Green Chemistry Education Manager, she also serves as the liaison for the company's extended partnership with global green chemistry education nonprofit Beyond Benign. Areej spent the first 20 years of her career as an analytical chemist and applications specialist for analytical laboratory equipment and liquid handling automation for high throughput screening in academia, pharmaceutical, and biotechnology. This industry experience is complemented by an 11-year teaching career in 7th grade science. Areej received her BS in biochemistry and MS in toxicology from SUNY Environmental Science and Forestry. As a final reminder, as we get started, our goal tonight is to engage in an interactive session. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them in the chat. And it is now my pleasure to turn over the dialogue to Areej Nitowski.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here, and please forgive me, I tend to talk very quickly. I will really try to slow down, but if I'm getting too crazy, tell me to slow down. I used to tell my kids that all the time in class, just tell me to slow down. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully you guys will be able to see it perfectly. How's that? Everybody can see it great? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so today's discussion is twofold. I'm going to be talking about our Spark program, which is our outreach program, and I'm also going to be talking to you about industry and its focus on green chemistry, and specifically showing you some examples of what MilleporeSigma is doing in that role. So if we go to, have to do this like with 4 different mice and all this other stuff. So here's the agenda. So we'll talk about industry's sustainability goals and green chemistry. We're going to talk about our partnership with Beyond Benign. I'll go into our Spark program, which is our Curiosity Cube and our Curiosity Labs, and we'll focus specifically on the newly developed Green Chemistry Curiosity Lab. Then I'm going to lead you into our Curiosity Labs at home. And then I have questions for you about potential professional development opportunities that MilleporeSigma is trying to develop. So I really will value your feedback on that. And of course, after that, any questions that you may have. But please feel free to interrupt me at any time. Like we said, it's got to be interactive, and I actually find myself very boring. So I'd rather hear your voice than mine. Okay, here we go. So we're looking at industry sustainability goals and green chemistry. And specifically, I wanted to kind of share with all of you what our sustainability goals are within MilleporeSigma. So I am part of the employee and community engagement group. I report up through the sustainability and social business innovation. So I'm actually on the left there, the community employee engagement. And so that's the philanthropic hand of MilleporeSigma. That's where we have our partnerships, et cetera. Then in the center, we have our greener products and solutions. So that is literally all of our chemicals and our processes that are greener in nature, whether it comes to production or packaging, et cetera. And then the last thing that we have in our goals, of course, is to reduce our own greenhouse gas emissions, waste, and the use of water, et cetera. So the point of all of this is to show all of you that industry at this time has to have these sustainability goals, and green chemistry must play a huge role in it in order for those goals to be met. It simply can't be done without thinking in that format. So let me explain a little bit about what we do. And what we have is our whole sustainability focus at each step of the product life cycle. So we have what we call our design for sustainability, and that is looking specifically at new products that we develop. We have the product life cycle, and as you can see, what we're doing is we're looking at everything from raw material processing to manufacturing. Everything has to be accounted for, everything. We launched the industry first green chemistry quantitative evaluator dozen, which is a free tool for people to use and can be used in your labs as teaching. And I'll talk to you guys about that. I'm very excited about that. Currently, we have more than 2,800 greener alternative products, and that's also, not just solvents, but different types of chemicals, because we are one of the larger chemical companies in the world. Our smash packaging is super cool. Like, we've just come up with a new type of shipping container, a cooler that doesn't use any styrofoam. It's all paper. They've tested it out. They're sending it all over Europe to see how well it does. Our antibodies, we lyophilize so that when we're shipping them, we don't have to put them into any type of cold temperature to maintain their efficacy. So all of these things that we're doing because we have these sustainability goals. And of course, recycling is a huge thing. We're actually launching a new biopharma plastics recycling. We're getting into that now. So again, this is something that the company itself takes very, very seriously. And if you're interested, our sustainability report just came out. And interestingly, green chemistry and beyond benign were highlighted as a major focus within our sustainability report. So that was very, very cool. So I'll talk a little bit about design for sustainability. So we created it as literally it's a framework. So if you think about it, to me, design for sustainability follows along the logical path of what the 12 principles are. It's a framework of thought. And it's literally, what are we doing before we even put anything in line to be created? So we're looking at everything that goes into development, consulting. We're looking at re-engineering old legacy projects and products. And of course, this is to help meet our customers' sustainability goals, because now it's not just us. We have to account for what we do to our customers who also have their own sustainability goals to achieve. So DFS development, pretty simple. The process development process is first, of course, there's brainstorming. We look at life cycle impacts. We definitely get customer voices. We assess and select target criteria, and then we develop the product and then figure out improvement. So again, this is for every new product that we're doing. It has to go through this gateway type of production. Our greener alternatives portfolio, I was saying we offer right now more than 2,800, but by 2030, I think we have some crazy goal of, I think, like 60,000 new products. So like green that's what we want. So all of them are marked with a specific icon. And what I love is, as you can see, we have our 12 principles aligned products. And we have our re-engineered products, and our enabling tech products are all of the products that we use for technology. So this is when I get in front of people, I'm like, you guys got to hear this. Okay. So as a, I mean, let's face it, industry does not have a very good face right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So I like this because what it shows is that we see green chemistry as a solution to a problem. That's why we incorporate the use of it. So we utilize the 12 principles to re-engineer existing products and also to provide cost-cutting products and tools to our customers. And one of those tools is Dozen. It is literally a quantitative evaluator of greenness of a process. So for example, if you have some sort of chemical reaction that you are scaling up, you can utilize this tool to put every single step that you have, every single chemical that you have, and it will then run an algorithm to compare it to the 12 principles and will give you a score of how green the whole process is, and it will highlight at specific places where you can actually make improvements. And right now, what we've done is we've now taken Dozen and incorporated it into our scientists' laboratory notebooks. So as they're going along, they're using Dozen right along with everything they're doing. So it's a consistent step all the way across, which I think is absolutely amazing. So like I said, our 12 principles aligned products are those that demonstrate one or more characteristics that are aligned with the 12 principles of green chemistry. So that is the criteria. And one of those examples is our new solvent Cyrene. It's a bio-based dipolar aprotic solvent, which is super cool because it is made from cellulose waste. It's a two-step process. It degrades into carbon dioxide and water. And it is now being used as an alternative to DMF. As we know, DMF is a very, very nasty chemical. I used to use it in HPLC and I hated it. Hated it, and NMP. So we've also created blends with Cyrene. And what I love about this particular chemical is this came about with a collaboration of the University of York. And we are always looking to collaborate with academia to look for new opportunities, especially within greener science. So we use Dozen, like I said, to identify what makes processes greener. And I'll give you an example of that. This was actually beta amylase. And originally, we had to use 6,000 pounds of sweet potatoes. What was really, I would say, ridiculous almost, is that it had to be freshly harvested sweet potatoes, and it could only be a specific type of sweet potato. I believe it couldn't be anything from South America because it didn't have enough of the enzyme. And if they were old, they couldn't be used. So we could only produce beta amylase within a very small window, very, very small window. It used 1,900 gallons of acetone, and we would have to boil it. You want to talk about a safety problem, okay? And it was very high in electricity. And what was interesting was the chemists that were working on this were actually brewmasters. in their spare time. And they were saying, you know, we think that we can do this. Like we do this kind of thing. We get it when we're doing, you know, our brewing. So they used dozen and figured out that instead of 6,000 pounds, we only need to use 2,000 pounds of potatoes. They can be any kind of potato. It doesn't matter how old they are. So anything will work. We no longer use any organic solvent, and we really reduced the electricity. So what dozen will do for you is it will end up giving you a scorecard, and that scorecard will highlight all of the parts. And I have that a little bit further along in the presentation because that's part of the green chemistry lab. So you'll be able to see that. Any questions so far? So kind of set the groundwork for where industry is, why we want green chemistry, why it's important to our own goals, and how it's important to our customers achieving their goals. So now we're going to go to the meat of the matter, which is Beyond Benign. So last March, we expanded our partnership with Beyond Benign, and basically we believe we have raised the bar on the life science industry for increasing access to green chemistry by partnering with Beyond Benign. It is our largest partnership to date. And what we believe is we are going to be driving scalable and systemic change in higher education. The funding that we give to Beyond Benign is to help them develop projects like the GCTLC, new curriculum, trainings, etc. But the goal, the ultimate goal, is that we need a pipeline of future scientists that are already trained in green chemistry. That's what we want. And Beyond Benign has the format, the thought pattern, and the people who are dedicated to that to do this. So they definitely are the engineers to promote the change. No doubt about it. Nobody else does it better, in my opinion. So with Beyond Benign, we're going into, basically that's my job, is I'm working with Beyond Benign. I go to larger academic institutions, talk to their chemistry people and ask them basically, why aren't you teaching green chemistry? And as we all know, it's usually the same answer. I don't have time. You don't really need it. It's not a blah, 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 blah. So we have to go through the whole big, I know, we have to go through the whole big thing of saying, really? Like, are you guys not looking around at what's happening in this planet and the world and politics and everything else? Do you not understand that all the people that you buy from, all those industries have sustainability goals and they have to meet them? And the only way they can meet them is to develop new products that actually are sustainable, which means they need people who know how to do that, which means you're not teaching them. So somehow you're failing. So can we change this? I don't really say that to them, but that's what I think in my head. So that's actually the fun part of the job. I do actually like that. I like talking to them about that. And it's gaining traction, definitely gaining traction. So I'll talk to you now about our Spark program, which I love. And what is Spark? Spark is our global volunteer program, and it's our life science program, and it is for our employees to be able to give back to the communities that they live and work in. And it's focused on, quote, sparking curiosity in the next generation of scientists. We focus on ages 8 to 13, and we do it through our Curiosity Cube and our Curiosity Labs, which are hands-on programs. So this is a focus on skills-based volunteering. All of our volunteers are employees, all of them. MilleporeSigma gives 16 hours of volunteer time, paid volunteer time, to all of the employees. So they're encouraged to volunteer in these outreach types of programs. And we focus on underrepresented populations. We focus on diversity, and we focus a lot on inclusivity. So I love this program. I have so much fun with it. Everybody that volunteers in it always wants to come back and do more. So I will show you a little bit of it. And by the way, the gentleman in the back there, that is our CEO, Matthias Heinzel. He's at the Cube in Darmstadt. So what is the Curiosity Cube? I love the Curiosity Cube. So you guys watch the video and you'll see what it is.
The Curiosity Cube is a retrofitted shipping container turned mobile science lab designed to bring hands-on science education experiences to 8 to 13-year-old students who might not otherwise have access to them.
I'd say it's a big box of science fun. You can do STEM projects inside. We made these microbiomes, the robot right around the cracks. You get to see bacteria.
Breakthroughs come through unique experiences that trigger our imagination, experiences that cause us to be curious, to question what we see, what we hear, and what we read. Our goal is to create and accelerate those breakthroughs by engaging young minds. With the Curiosity Cube, we aim to spark curiosity in the next generation of scientists by bringing students out of the classroom and into the lab for hands-on science learning. The program launched in 2017 with 1 cube touring North America. Now, it has expanded to include 4 cubes traveling across North America and Europe. The cube visits schools, summer camps, and public spaces, including parks, festivals, and museums. Each year, the cube has a new theme featuring different interactive science experiments that leverage the latest technology. Our Curiosity Cube events are staffed by our very own employee volunteers as part of our Spark Global Volunteer Program. This allows employees to leverage their skills and expertise while providing students with the opportunity to connect with diverse STEM experts in their own community. We want to inspire young students by showing them that scientists who look just like them are working to create a better tomorrow.
So the Curiosity Cube itself is an amazing setup, and like the video was saying, every year it has a new theme, and this year the theme is sustainability. Oh, that's right. That's right. 31,000 hours. You did a lot. So we're also looking to launch a cube in India and also in Africa. We're hoping that that may be coming in the next 2 years. So that is a big part of the Spark program. And what I did was I wanted to let you all know a little bit more about it. So when we built the cube initially, it was thought to be, all right, we're just going to have very simple experiments, and we're going to have a stationary cube only in St. Louis. But the program was so successful that they said, okay, we can take this a lot further. And as you can see, to date, we've reached over 186,000 students. We have over 31,000 volunteer hours, which is stupendous for our own employees. And we visited over 605 communities. So this year, what I'm super excited about, which we're leading into, is the theme of the Curiosity Cube is sustainability. That's what the theme is this year. And we also launched a new program called the Face of the Cube. And all these wonderful kids that you see on the cube, they're actually kids of our employees. So we went in and we had them come in, and we had the most fun with these photo shoots. They were just adorable. So we've got all these different kids who are employee children with their faces traveling all around the world. It's fabulous. It's absolutely wonderful. So coming soon, this is the thing that I think is going to be great for all of you, is we are going to have a Curiosity Cube app, which you will be able to access. It will be free for teachers. It's going to be web-based. We want to target students, again, ages 8 to 13. And right now we're featuring the periodic table with 3 experiment stations. We're going to have places for them to ask questions, etc. So you'll be able to integrate that into lesson plans as you see fit. And of course, when it does launch, I will let everybody know so that they can get the word out to everyone with you, and then you can try it out. And if you have questions about it or want to give us feedback, we'd be delighted to get your feedback on it. But I'm really excited about this. This is going to be super cool for kids. All right. Oh my God, I'm really talking fast. I'm so sorry. Whew. Okay, so now we're leading into the Curiosity labs. So the Curiosity Cube has 3 labs that it uses based on the theme, and that travels around the country or is stationary in St. Louis and also in Germany. Curiosity Labs, though, is a different beast. What Curiosity Labs is, it is always staffed by, again, MilleporeSigma employees, but we bring this into the classroom. So if we have, for example, our site in Burlington, the local schools around us, if they wanted to have someone come in and teach one of these labs, our employees would go in and teach the class for the teacher. And we've got multiple types of labs. This is just a small example. Biologic therapies is with the bacteria. The chemiluminescence is so much fun. The kids love that because they see the fluorescence and they're like, oh, what was that? You know, we have, of course, DNA. Flavors and fragrances is always fun because, you know, they don't really think about chemicals and those types of things. And we talked about the difference between natural and synthesized. So, you know, they get a better perspective. Germ detection. I know all of you have done this with the ultraviolet light and the gloves, right? That was big during the pandemic. Everybody was using it to show how to wash hands and everything. I remember doing that in my class. The graphene is really cool because they literally use a pencil and they're making a track and they create an electrical circuit. So it's really, really cool to do. Soil microbiome, you saw a little bit of that. Water filtration, you know, we're talking about potability. And then these are the ones that I'm the most excited about. We have the green chemistry lesson and we have our designing dyes. And these are the sustainability ones for this year. All the supplies are provided for free. So we bring the kit in, the employees come in, they set up everything. All right, we have a PowerPoint that goes along with it. We have a guidebook for the teachers and our employees. We have a student worksheet so the kids follow along. So everything is literally in a big kit, taken into the school and used. So I've included a QR code for the actual website as well as a link in the PowerPoint presentation so that if you want to go take a look at it, I would highly encourage you to do this. And what I'll do is, oh yeah, very important. So the format follows the 5E principle and they're all NGSS standards, all follow the NGSS standards. So we're going to talk first about the green chemistry because that's what we're here about. So this particular lesson, as you can see, it says in partnership with Beyond Benign. So we used their green glue lesson, which is in their enrichment resources. And that is, again, another link for you guys. So we use that as a base for our lesson. And what you're looking at is the front of the guidebook for our employees. I'm also including here a poster for the 12 principles. We actually have this up on the GCTLC. You can download it for free. I've printed it up as a poster size. It looks beautiful. I've also done it, 8.5 by 11, and I've laminated it, as I know many teachers like to do with their stuff. And I used it when we were piloting the green chemistry lesson for kids to, use the dry erase marker, circle the principles, talk about it. So you can use that, and I think you will really enjoy using it. It's nice, it's bright. The kids really like looking at it and reading it. It's easy to use. So the basic premise of the lesson, we start with our questions of inquiry, like most, like we always do. How can we create a high quality glue that's safe for humans and the environment? And how can we use the 12 principles of green chemistry to develop that product? So then what we do next is we go to the engage, right? The 5 E's. So our phenomenon launch. And this is where we talk to them specifically about what are adhesives. We introduce the concept of biomimicry. We talk about spider silk. We talk about blue mussels. We talk about gecko feet, and we talk about the potential human applications and how scientists look to nature to develop a lot of the things we need, like bandages, surgical adhesives, etc. So we kind of lay the groundwork with that. And then we go to the explore. So we're actually going to design it. And this is what we tell the kids. We say, today you're going to be green chemists, and we want to create a green glue that works well and is safe. Those are the two things. We say, you know, the glue is the adhesive. But one thing you have to remember is that even though it's supposed to be a sustainable product, it has to act better than the ones that are non-sustainable. Otherwise, people aren't going to use them. And they're also funny. The kids are like, yeah, that's right. We wouldn't use it if it wasn't any good. Yeah. So they know the difference with the whole marketing thing. They know they're very savvy. They're very savvy. So after we start the exploration, we go into the explanation part, and we talk about what the green chemistry principles are. And this is going to kind of relate back to the dozen tools. So we tell them that the whole idea of green chemistry is the design of a product and process that reduces or totally eliminates the creation of hazardous materials, and that there are 12 principles of them. And then we group them into 3 groups for them to be able to understand a little bit easier what they are, right? We say there's groups that are all about improved resource use, right? Like using renewable feedstocks, etc. Then we have the one for increased energy efficiency. And then the last group is all about reduced human and environmental hazards. And what they see is they see this slide where everything is color-coded for them. So here's our improved waste, the ones that are in the deep green. The increased energy efficiency is number 6, all on its own, right? It's the only one that talks about energy. And then number 3 are the purple ones. Those are the ones that talk about reduced human and environmental hazards. So for them to be able to group them under, you know, very specific examples makes it a lot easier for them to kind of handle the whole idea of what, you know, because when they see 12 principles, you know, they're like, what? I can't remember all of those. What am I supposed to, you know? So you break it down into the 3, they do really well with it. And that's what dozen is based on. Dozen actually takes all 12 and breaks them up into the 3 different groups. So like I said, we're looking at 3 principles. So number 1 is waste prevention, and that's improved resource use. Number 6, design for energy efficiency. So that's increased energy efficiency. And then of course, number 4, designing safer chemicals, right? So, and again, we reiterate, it has to work as well as any of the other products that are not, quote, sustainable. Otherwise, people are not going to use them. And that, of course, is the reduced human and environmental hazards. So we talk about what is waste? What does it mean if we wanted to prevent waste? What does it mean if we're using energy efficiently? We utilize LEDs. We ask them about that. We ask, why would we want to create safer chemicals? Who is this going to impact? We talk with them about, you know, do they think about things that they put on their skin? You know, this is the age, especially middle school, where they're becoming very aware of their looks. They're under a lot of peer pressure. They're trying all kinds of products in their hair and all that. And I'm like, do you guys actually think about what's in them? Would you prefer this type or this type? You know, so it makes it more personal, more relevant for them. And then we get to elaborate, where they actually do the comparison. So we've got two groups, essentially, green glue 1 and green glue 2. And I'm sure all of you are very familiar with this lesson. So I'm not telling you anything new. But the key is that green glue 1, number 1, we have to heat the water. They have to use hot water. There's more materials used for this one. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 for green glue 2. So right away, they're able to see a difference of which one is going to be more sustainable, which one is better at energy use, which one uses less materials to create the product, which one has less waste. So this literally becomes the whole group discussion. And then what they do is we have a worksheet that has the 12 principal icons, and they cut them out, and then they try their glues on them and they paste them up. And then they go back and take a look and see which one works better. So this is, I gave you the example of dozen earlier. And we tell them that we've designed this tool by Millipore, but it's free to anybody. All of our competitors we know use it. It is, what's the word? It's basically safe. Like everything is protected. The identity is protected. We don't know who's actively using the tool. We can't look at their process and nothing like that. So people are encouraged to use it so that their processes become more sustainable. And, oh, let me go back to one second. There was the score. That was the one. Okay, this is it. So the old green score was 57, right? Before dozen. And the score is 0 to 100, with 100 being the worst. The new score went down to 1 with the new process. Like, amazing difference. And practical, right? The company is saving money. And at the same time, we're actually producing more of the product that our customers want. This is a total win-win. Total win-win. Okay, so they go to last ones we talk about is the evaluate and the key takeaways for green chemistry. And we reiterate, it's the design of chemical products and processes that reduce or eliminate the use or creation of hazardous materials. There are 12 principles. We often find inspiration in nature to create products that are safe and cost-effective. Adhesives is an example of that, where biomimicry is used to develop healthier things. And companies like MilleporeSigma utilize green chemistry to develop greener products and their processes. And then we ask them the questions they have. The whole lesson, I didn't show you the front end. We do an all about me slide where the volunteer talks about their career, because this is not just scientists that are volunteering, right? We have people who are in manufacturing. We have people who are in admin who come in and do. So the kids see that you can work in science, but have many different roles, many different roles. And of course, we start out with, when you hear the word scientist, what do you imagine? And we show the pictures of, Albert Einstein and the crazy guys from Back to the Future and all that. So we try to stop that. And, we give them a good idea of what it's like to work in the industry. So the last thing that I really wanted to talk with you about was our Curiosity Labs at home. I love these lessons. I use them as a teacher. They're great to use to model with if you'd like, or you can use them as homework assignments. They're 15 to 30 minutes long. You use, household materials that the kids have around the house, or you can do it very easily in your classroom. It has every single one of them has an accompanying video. They have the little recipe card, and then they have a lab report. So we used to have fun with that. I used to find it really helpful to engage families. So I used to do something called my science challenge. And so I would challenge the kids to get their families to try to do an experiment with them. And if they were able to show the lab report and take a picture of their family doing it and send it to me, then they would get extra credit points. So they loved it. They loved it. They had so much fun with it, and their parents and their families really, really enjoyed it. So this is also the link for it. So to show you guys, there's a whole bunch of experiments. We make, the bouncy balls. We do the bobbing raisins, which I used to call sewer lice. Have you guys done that? The sewer lice thing? Yeah, I love that. I used to scare my kids so much. It was so much fun. I love that. I'd eat the bug and they'd freak out. They would freak out every time. Oh no, Mrs. Nitowski, don't eat it. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do it in the name of science. I am eating this thing. It was awesome. It was so great. We of course make elephant toothpaste and all that, all those things. I mean, they're not totally different than what you would do, but I think it helps to make it accessible for at home. And it's also great for after school. If you've got kids that are staying after school, don't have much to do, this is a really good program too. And again, total access for you guys. So now I'm coming pretty much to the end. But this is what we are looking to do. We would like to take our current curiosity labs, and we're exploring the creation of a new program specific for teachers. And we want to know, first of all, would you be interested in learning these types of things? We would have them as a kit, and as you saw, the curiosity labs come with the guidebooks and everything. And we also want to, of course, provide training. So we were trying to figure out whether teachers would prefer virtual or in person. How does it work for professional development? Because I know when I taught in Connecticut, we didn't have professional development, quote, requirements, but every Wednesday was a half day, and the second half of the day was spent as professional development with our cohorts. So it wasn't like we had to log the hours for a specific thing as far as moving up in rank or anything like that, but it was just part of being a science teacher. You had to participate in it. So I know state to state it's different. But we wanted to see if teachers would be interested in this, because we don't have enough employees to be able to bring this to as many students as we would like. That's the truth of it, right? We wanna get this out there. And so the best way, of course, is to train our teachers who are interested in it. So if you have any feedback, if you have any potential questions, or if you have any suggestions, and if you would like to email me, I would be so happy to receive your feedback. And of course, Beyond Benign has their wonderful K-12 teacher training. And so that's the link, QR code also, for those of you who like QR codes. And, we also are working with Beyond Benign, of course, for professional development opportunities. But I would really love to have this group specifically get involved and give us feedback. If you want to be part of a focus group for us to develop this type of thing, we'd love to have all of you. We really, really would. So now that I've bored you for a good long time, thank you so much. That's my contact information. Please reach out anytime you would like. And thank you for the opportunity. It really was an honor and a privilege to be here with you. And
Thank you, Areej. We have a couple of questions in the chat.
Sure.
Let's see. So one of our participants had asked when the Curiosity app was going to be available, and I don't think you knew a time frame, but I thought I'd ask that again.
We're hoping in spring. We're hoping by next spring it's going to be available.
Okay.
So, yes.
And do the Curiosity cubes go up to Canada? We have someone from Canada that's really
unfortunately we don't. But the link in the presentation about the cube actually has the schedule. So you can get the schedule of where the cube is. It does, like it says, it does stop at science fairs and things like that. So like we do the Boston Science Fair, for example, in Cambridge, and all of us participate there. But no, not in Canada, not yet. But keep your fingers crossed, because the more cubes, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
And we have one more from Rashmi. I hope I'm saying that right. It says, is it possible to use Curiosity Labs at home in online asynchronous environments? I'm interested if we can figure out something for asynchronous environments, but my district may not pay for any professional development.
Okay, so I used to do it, like I said, for my classroom, and during the pandemic, they were perfect to use for kids at home, for to present them virtually. I mean, they were made for it. It was really, really great. So I would say that go to the website, take a look at the videos, take a look at the recipe cards. You will see that to share it with your students virtually, you do not need the training. You will not need it. It is very straightforward. And like I said, for extra credit, it was very engaging. They really liked doing it. And, of course, having them take a picture with their families, that was like, yeah, I'm not going to believe you unless I have a picture. I need to see you with the stuff in front of you and some of your family around you. So, that worked really well. Let me stop sharing. Okay.
I've been peeking at them too, and they are. I mean, they're pretty straightforward. Usually just, a couple of supplies that are really, most
they're very
families will have them around.
innocuous.
Yeah.
They're very innocuous. It's, it's cornstarch, it's baking soda, it's that type of stuff, the bobbing raisins, I had done the sewer lice first, and then we used the bobbing raisins to go home and trick their families into, oh, these, Mrs. Nitowski gave us these dried up bugs, and if you soak them in water, you'll see them move around. I mean, it was so much fun. It really, really was. It was that's the part of teaching that I really miss, because, you can't go into a professor's lab and talk about sewer lice. They're just not into it.
Yeah. And Jonathan has his hands up. So go ahead, Jonathan.
Hello, hey Areej, good to see you. Thanks for an
Jonathan.
amazing presentation. Sorry if there's a bit of background noise because I'm in a coffee shop at the moment, but I wanted to ask a question about the, this is more on the industry side and that design for sustainability framework. So I know that's not as much sort of in your wheelhouse as I gather, but do you know, as that was being developed, was there a lot of input from external bodies like other industry, other companies, maybe industry associations, that kind of thing, sort of as like a benchmarking
Launching pad,
process?
kind of to get the ideas out there.
Yeah,
As I understand it, so Jeffrey Whitford, who is the Vice President of Sustainability and Social Business Innovation, is the one who really led this charge for DFS. And his thing was, why are we even going to make products that we know are going to cause problems? We need to have a different approach to how we're developing products. And I think a lot of the input came from customer sustainability goals, them trying to reduce their own footprints. Okay, so if we are creating something more efficiently, using energy more efficiently, not using the hazardous chemicals, that's going to impact their own if they're purchasing from us. So I would say that, yeah, they definitely got input from customers. Jeffrey sits on the board of My Green Lab, so I'm sure that, they had a lot of input. But I think that the DFS is the 12 principles in my mind, because you're thinking like a 12 principles scientist, essentially. No worries. Anything else?
And Annette had a question too about the kits, which I think was that's a potential, right? Doing the
Yes.
student kits. So her question was like, how many students are you envisioning like having,
Like
having
30.
these kits accessible for? 30?
We're envisioning the kits for 30 students. Per kit, well, actually, no, wait, I take that back. I think each kit we want to do for like 200 students, but it's for a class size of like 32. Do you know what I mean? So you've got like overall 200. And the whole idea is that if you get the kit and you're using it, you're going to need a refill, but the refills, honestly, we could probably do it, but in my opinion, everything that I'm looking at, most of the stuff you already have in your classrooms. Do you know what I mean? And not to take away from MilleporeSigma because I love it, but thinking as a teacher, I know it. We start something, we try something as a teacher, and we always figure out a way to make it a little bit easier for us and a little bit better. So if you start with a kit, I'm not anticipating that you're always going to have to buy a refill. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just something that will eventually become part of your lesson plans, and you've got a good starting point, basically, something new.
And are you targeting more like middle school, elementary age? Are you
We're
thinking
looking at,
about getting into middle school or?
we're looking at 8 to 13. To be honest with you, I've been on a lot of these volunteer missions to talk with the students, and sixth graders are awesome, right? Fifth and sixth graders, like they are excited, they want it, and they're not too cool for school. Seventh grade, they just start getting that attitude. You know what I mean? But you can still amaze them. That's the thing. Like whether they like it or not, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Eighth graders, that's hard. I mean, we've had eighth graders come to the Curiosity Cube and they're all like, yeah, whatever, and then they put the virtual reality goggles on and they're like, whoa, I see, like I can see a virus up on the ceiling. Like, you know what I mean? So my thing is that if we are going to develop this, we really need to be thoughtful specifically for the age group, but I'd really like to see it also go into high school. I feel like middle school and high school bridge is really, there's a big gap, right? Between the transfer of knowledge from middle school to high school, specifically around life sciences and chemistry. And even though I can be teaching my kids, how to properly use the metric system and all that other stuff, they get to high school, if they're not going to be reintroduced to those principles, they're going to forget it. That's all there is to it. They forget it. So if I'm teaching the idea of green chemistry in 7th and 8th grade, but they take regular chemistry at school or an AP class that doesn't mention green chemistry, all of that effort and knowledge goes right out the window. So we need to figure out a way to bridge that. And honestly, like your type of a group, that's where I think we need to be more involved in policy making, especially for curriculum. We really need to get more involved in, the NGS standards don't mention sustainability at all. There's nothing in there. You know what I mean? But all of the United States, like the whole world revolves around NGS. I'm like, that's nice, but is it really practical? Is it up to date? Yes, absolutely right. We need to make it relevant. And this is what I love about green chemistry. Kids that don't necessarily like science feel that, oh, wow, this is a way that I can make a difference, because they see it in their homes and in their neighborhoods every day. And they just don't understand that they really can make a change. So, this is the power that we have as educators, to be able to do this. So that's why I argue with a lot of professors to get their butts in gear. I'm too old to take a bunch of nonsense from people. I just like, I'm done. You know, you're just going to hear me and I'm going to say it and then I'm going to walk up. So that's it. You know, I mean, you guys heard I graduated with a degree in biochemistry and toxicology last century, 1984. They're still teaching chemistry the exact same way. How pathetic is that? Like, seriously, how pathetic is that? And my school was environmental science and forestry. They're not teaching green chemistry. I told the alumni people, I said, I'm not giving you money anymore until you bring in green chemistry. Take me off the list. I'm not giving you any more money. So.
Well, thank you so much, Areej. This is amazing. And I loved how you're, MilleporeSigma's, intentionality of attacking the problem from all the different layers and levels. I'm really excited actually to check out the dozen
Yes,
toolkit, because
yes.
that seems
Beyond Benign has a lesson that incorporates dozen in their curriculum. That
I've
is
not
in
seen that,
there.
so that's good to
Yes.
know. Okay.
Yeah, so they have that. So, and we're always looking to try to find examples of where it's being used. This next week, we're doing a green chemistry symposium at our Burlington facility site. And we're focusing on education to innovation. And we invited academic institutions in the New England area to come in so that they can see why industry needs this work set, this skilled workforce. And one of the main things is the use of dozen. So it's definitely needed.
Yeah. Well, again, I think we'll start wrapping things up here. So I'm just gonna put up our social media channels again with our own QR code there as well. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of upcoming things. So the ACS Chemists Celebrate Earth Week is next week, I think. Yeah, April 21st through 27th. This year's Chemists Celebrate Earth Week is all about batteries. ASC is inviting everyone to get a charge out of chemistry as you learn about batteries and their impact on our everyday lives. I think a website is probably going in the chat right now for more information and resources, about that. And along sort of that same vein with Earth Month, Beyond Benign has a Earth Month photo contest right now because they believe more people worldwide need to see what green chemistry looks like in action, which is a lot of what Areej is saying. Photos that really show how engaging green chemistry education can be are oftentimes few and far between. So Beyond Benign is aiming to change that. So from now until April 24th, share your photos for a chance to win $100, a Beyond Benign t-shirt, and a special feature in an upcoming Beyond Benign article and newsletter. And then finally, I think we share this every month, but we are wrapping up, I think, we have 2 more of these Green Chemistry Connection meetings. Those are on the 3rd Wednesday of each month. And this is an interactive webinar featuring community leaders and active practitioners in the field with small group discussions, resource sharing, and networking opportunities with industry leaders and the higher ed community. Participants bring their own resources and share them out to their community. And if you haven't done so already, please scan the QR code that you see on your screen, and you will get more information about our green chemistry teaching and learning community, and to just remain current with the latest news and updates. And one last time, a huge shout out to Areej for sharing her time, her talents, her passion for sustainability and green chemistry, and sharing those passions with the younger generation to get them excited and knowledgeable and feel empowered as they move forward in the world. And thank you to all of our participants for tuning in and being present in tonight's webinar. We look forward to seeing you again next year. Good night, everybody, and take care.
Good night. Thank you again.